Welcome you to the new season of World Wave Audio, where we slice through the noise and pull back the curtain on the most complex issues shaping our world.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show where we, cut through all the noise and try to get straight to the crucial insights from a whole stack of sources.
That's the plan.
And today, wow, we're plunging into a conflict that, despite its just astonishing brevity, really pulled the world right to the brink.
You're talking about the 2025 India-Pakistan conflict.
Exactly. Imagine this. A military engagement so fast, so intense, it just erupted and then seemed to de-escalate in, 4 days?
Just 4 days. It was incredibly quick.
Yet, in that tiny span, it left behind this complex, almost dizzying web of claims, counterclaims, geopolitical implications, stuff we're still grappling with.
Absolutely. And the reverberations continue, across the subcontinent and definitely beyond. It's remarkable how quickly things unfolded, honestly catching many by surprise.
Yeah.
This wasn't some drawn-out war of attrition. It was a rapid-fire series of strikes, counterstrikes, and it exposed some, deeply unsettling truths.
About what?
About modern conflict, the sheer power of information warfare, and that very delicate balance of nuclear deterrence in, let's face it, a highly volatile region.
Okay, so that's our mission today. We need to unpack this 4-day firestorm, sort of dissect it piece by piece.
Right.
We'll start by looking at the specific triggers, what lit the fuse, then trace that rapid escalation and the, frankly, surprising speed of the ceasefire.
And after that?
Then we delve into the really intricate aftermath, that period defined by these contentious claims of victory, defeat from both sides.
And the nuclear rhetoric. Can't forget that.
Oh, definitely not. The alarming rise of nuclear talk and the pervasive information warfare that, really characterized the whole thing. It continued long after the shooting stopped.
So, to help us navigate this pretty complex landscape, we've got a good stack of sources.
We do. We have detailed Wikipedia excerpts for a chronological overview. Breaking news reports, the Indian Express, Business Recorder, Newsweek, The Hindu, CNN, the big names.
And we're also leaning heavily on in-depth analyses from respected think tanks. Stimson Center, Congress.gov reports, Eurasia Review, Vivekananda International Foundation.
Plus, there's even a YouTube transcript that sheds some critical light on specific statements, reactions from key figures involved.
So the goal here is to cut through that infamous fog of war.
Exactly. Extract the crucial nuggets, the key pieces of knowledge, and help you, our listener, understand what truly seems to have transpired.
And explore why this particular conflict, short as it was, has such profound, lasting ramifications. For the region, for global stability.
What lessons does it offer? Let's start right at the beginning, the spark that ignited everything.
Okay.
So to really get how this intense 4-day thing erupted, we actually have to rewind a couple of weeks before the actual military strikes even began.
Right. The precursor wasn't military. It was something else.
It was a horrific terrorist attack, an attack that immediately sent shockwaves across the region.
That's exactly right. The roots of this conflict, they lie in that tragic attack on April 22nd, 2025. In Pahalgam, Jammu, and Kashmir.
Beautiful area.
Beautiful, yes. But this incident was brutal.
Yeah.
And targeted. 26 Hindu tourists were killed.
And the details were chilling.
Eyewitness accounts reported the assailants shouting Islamic slogans, specifically targeting people who appeared Hindu. That immediately amplified the sectarian angle, heightened tensions all across India.
And right away there was this profound ambiguity. It seemed to set the tone for all the conflicting stories that came later.
How so?
Well, the Resistance Front, TRF, they initially claimed responsibility for the Pahalgam attack, immediately pointing fingers, escalating anxieties.
Okay, standard procedure almost.
But then, almost just as quickly, they issued a denial. They attributed the first claim to, get this, a hacking incident.
A hacking incident.
Yeah. So this early muddled information, it's crucial, isn't it? It created this void, a void that could be filled with speculation, accusation.
Precisely. That rapid claim, then the equally rapid denial. It introduced fundamental uncertainty right from the very start.
So it wasn't just battlefield fog later on.
No. For anyone trying to understand modern conflict, the insight here is that the fog of war isn't just limited visibility anymore. It's actively manufactured.
Right.
This conflict shows that the very first weapon deployed isn't a missile, it's the narrative. Designed to control perceptions faster than verifiable facts can even emerge.
Puts everyone on edge immediately.
It immediately put both sides on a defensive footing and an offensive one in the information sphere, even before any physical strikes happened.
Which brings us directly to India's military response. Codenamed Operation Sindoor.
Named by Prime Minister Modi himself.
Yeah, the name itself underscored that symbolic link.
Yeah.
And India explicitly framed this military action as direct retaliation for Pahalgam.
India's stated rationale was, well, unambiguous, a direct response to terrorism. On May 6th, India announced it had launched missile and airstrikes, 9 sites across Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir.
And they were specific about the targets.
Very specific. The Indian narratives specified targeting headquarters of Lashkar-e-Taiba, Let-T, a known terrorist group with a long history in India, and Jaish-e-Mohammed, JEM, another major militant group.
What kind of structures?
According to Indian claims, these included structures described as mosques and madrasas linked to Let-T, JEM, even Harkatul Mujahideen.
Mosques and madrasas. That sounds potentially controversial.
It does, but India framed them as linked to these groups. The Ministry of External Affairs even publicly shared a list 21 well-known terror camps they claimed to have hit successfully, trying to project transparency, precision.
And the military leadership commented too, right?
Yes, India's Air Force Chief, A.P. Singh, later gave some quite illuminating remarks about their operational freedom during Sindoor.
What did he say?
He said there's very clear political will, no restrictions from the government. He emphasized the military had a free hand, operating only under self-made constraints on rules of engagement.
How did he describe the operation itself?
He called it a high-tech war, short, precise, and lethal, implying not just effectiveness, but maybe a deliberate shift in how India responds.
Okay, so that's India's narrative. Precise, retaliatory, high-tech. What about Pakistan?
Well, Pakistan vehemently disputed India's claims, with equal fervor, really.
What was their version?
They asserted only 6 locations were hit, and flat out denied the presence of any active terror camps at those sites.
So complete denial on the terror camp front.
Complete denial. Pakistani officials contended the strikes primarily hit mosques and seminaries, implying attacks on civilian or religious structures, not legitimate military or terror targets.
Wow, so right from the start, 2 totally different stories.
Exactly. This immediate, almost reflexive divergence in narratives, it's key to understanding the information war that followed. It revealed how deeply ingrained these opposing stories are, even before any evidence could be properly assessed.
It truly sets the stage for that intense information war, doesn't it? When you have such immediate, diametrically opposed claims.
It makes verifying facts in real time incredibly difficult, maybe impossible for outside observers. Each side is just constructing its own version of events.
It's an environment where narratives are constructed, deployed as quickly as bombs are dropped.
Absolutely. Each side trying to control the information space, not just the physical battleground, makes discerning truth incredibly challenging, even for their own populations who get fed highly curated information.
Less about facts, more about dominating perception.
Precisely.
And then Pakistan launched its own counteroffensive, Operation Bunyan-um-Marsoos.
Right. In the early hours of May 10th, just 4 days after India's strikes, Pakistan announced it had targeted several Indian military bases.
They mentioned Sirsa specifically.
Yes, the strategic Sirsa base was mentioned. Pakistan later claimed they'd hit 26 Indian military targets in total. So, escalating their claims too.
And it wasn't just airstrikes, was it? Things heated up on the ground too.
Concurrently, yeah. Heavy fighting broke out at the line of control, the Lossi, near Sialkot and Rajouri, indicating a broader escalation beyond just precision airstrikes.
And civilian impact.
India accused Pakistan of retaliatory shelling that killed at least 5 civilians, and even saw drones targeting a Hindu temple in Jammu, broadening that scope of civilian harm.
So things were escalating fast.
Very fast. This rapid escalation prompted analysts like Michael Kugelman to remark the 2 countries were, quote, effectively at war.
Effectively at war. Even though,
as a former Indian diplomat noted, neither side had mobilized significant ground forces for, like, a full-scale invasion.
Which highlights the unique nature of this. Heavy reliance on air, missile exchanges, very different from past conflicts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Distinct from previous conventional engagements.
That's a crucial distinction, not armies marching, but rapid-fire strikes from the air. Drones playing a key role.
And this intense, rapid exchange immediately led to wildly conflicting reports on the aerial side. Who shot down what?
Right. This became a central point of contention, a core part of the information war. This is where the narrative battle really kicked into high gear.
Indeed. Pakistan asserted, quite confidently, that it had shot down 5 Indian fighter jets.
They named the types.
Yes, specifically citing 3 Rafales, 1 MiG-29 and 1 Su-30, and 1 drone as well.
The Rafales would be a big deal, India's top-line jets.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif later reiterated this claim, emphasizing that 4 French-made Rafales were among 6 downed Indian jets, a major potential blow to India's air superiority narrative.
And they credited specific aircraft.
They specifically credited their Chinese-made Cobras, the J-10C jets, with 6 Indian Air Force kills, trying to highlight the prowess of their newer hardware,
Okay, Pakistan claiming major successes. What was India saying?
India, on the other hand, initially denied any losses, flat-out denial.
But that changed slightly.
Later, they stated that while there were initial losses, quote-unquote, all pilots were back home. A subtle but noticeable shift in language.
Then came a more detailed debrief.
Yes, Indian Air Chief A.P. Singh subsequently delivered a significant debrief. He asserted India had shot down 6 Pakistani planes.
6 Pakistani planes, what types?
5 fighter jets, he suggested, potentially Chinese J-10s or maybe American F-16s, and 1 large Pakistani intelligence aircraft.
An intelligence plane? That's specific.
Very specific. And he emphasized it was shot down from an unprecedented distance, 300 kilometers, using India's new S-400 air defense system,
300 kilometers.
calling it the farthest ever recorded aerial kill, confirmed, he said, through electronic tracking data. India also claimed to have downed a Pakistani Mirage jet, providing proof, although the nature of that proof remained contested.
So completely different numbers, different claims.
Yeah.
6 down on each side, according to the other side.
Exactly. And this is where the fog of war just thickens incredibly. Verification becomes immensely challenging.
Were there any third-party accounts?
There were, but they were equally varied, often contradictory. U.S. officials stated that Pakistan's Chinese-made jet brought down 2 Indian fighter aircraft, which gives some support to Pakistan's claims.
Okay, 2 Indian jets, according to the U.S. What about others?
A French intelligence official indicated that 1 Indian Rafale jet was downed, lending weight to at least part of Pakistan's specific claim about the Rafales.
And even Trump weighed in.
Yes, former U.S. President Donald Trump later stated he thought 5 jets were shot down, just adding another voice to this chorus of unverified or very hard to verify accounts.
It's a multitude of conflicting stories.
It really adds layers of complexity to figuring out the truth.
It's almost dizzying, isn't it, trying to track all these conflicting accounts. For outside observers, it must felt like a hall of mirrors.
Each reflection showing a slightly different truth. And add to that, damage assessment based on satellite imagery.
Right, the New York Times, Washington Post.
Their analysis suggested limited damage to airfields on both sides, which kind of challenged some of the more dramatic claims of widespread destruction.
How did India respond to that?
India released time-stamped images of zone air bases, looking undamaged, explicitly to debunk Pak propaganda, trying to control the narrative visually.
But there was some confirmed damage.
Conversely, yes. Rahim Yar Khan's Sheikh Zayed Airport in Pakistan was reported by multiple sources to be damaged. Its sole runway non-operational for a week after an Indian strike. A tangible piece of evidence of impact, at least there.
Okay, so what this whirlwind of claims, counterclaims, third-party reports, what does it underscore for you, the listener?
It underscores the profound challenge of discerning truth in modern warfare, especially when national pride, strategic narratives, global power dynamics are all intensely at stake.
Information becomes a weapon itself.
A primary weapon. It forces a fundamental shift in how we approach military reporting, demands heightened skepticism, a multi-source approach. It's not just waiting for official reports anymore. It's sifting through a deluge of contested information.
Okay, moving on from those rapid-fire kinetic exchanges. One of the most, surprising aspects, maybe relief-inducing, was how incredibly quickly it de-escalated.
It was remarkably fast, yeah. Especially given the intensity just days before.
We went from aerial combat, cross-border shelling, to a ceasefire announcement in, what, hours?
Literally hours. Both India and Pakistan announced a ceasefire on May 10th, following a direct hotline communication between their DGMOs.
Directors General of Military Operations, the top guys on the border.
Exactly. That quick de-escalation was such a stark contrast to how rapidly things had escalated, suggests an urgent push behind the scenes to pull back from the brink.
And it wasn't purely bilateral, was it? The U.S. played a role.
A significant role, it seems, though largely behind the scenes. Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, they engaged in extensive, urgent correspondence with officials in both countries during the negotiations, clearly pushing for de-escalation.
Interesting that Trump later took credit publicly.
Yes, former President Trump did take public credit, even offered to mediate on Kashmir, suggested trade as leverage, a claim that apparently irked New Delhi. India typically resists third-party mediation on Kashmir.
Okay, so the deal is struck. What happened next?
Well, following the agreement, Pakistan promptly reopened its airspace to commercial flights. Military hotlines were reactivated. Both countries reported a return to some semblance of normalcy, including resumed commercial flights.
So for you, the listener, this rapid de-escalation, especially contrasting with the U.S.'s initial perceived indifference, maybe sets a precedent.
It might, for how future crises in the region are handled. It certainly suggests that external diplomatic pressure, especially from a superpower, can be a powerful force in nuclear flashpoints, preventing catastrophe.
But normalcy didn't mean instant calm, did it? The ceasefire was fragile.
Very fragile. Even minutes after the announcement on May 10th, there were reports of loud explosions, projectiles, observed in Srinagar and Jammu.
Violations straight away.
India's Foreign Secretary, Vikram Misri, immediately cited cross-border firing, Pakistani drone sightings, called on Pakistan to address violation.
And local leaders.
Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah also reported explosions, expressing deep concern. Pakistan, of course, denied India's claims as baseless, and in turn accused India of its own ceasefire violations in Pakistan-administered Kashmir.
So, blame game immediately highlights the deep mistrust.
Profound mistrust. This fragile ceasefire is critical. It shows an agreement can't instantly dissipate underlying tensions.
Did things calm down eventually?
By May 11th, reports indicated serious violations had largely ceased. The situation stabilized in many Indian cities along the Lost Sea. Businesses tentatively reopened in Srinagar.
But still some anxiety.
Oh yes. Fears lingered. Blackouts were implemented in India's Kutch district as a precaution. Anti-aircraft gunfire was heard in Pakistan's Peshawar due to continued drone sightings. Ongoing anxiety about aerial threats.
Shows that agreements on paper don't always mean immediate calm on the ground.
Reflects that deep underlying mistrust that takes much longer to address.
Absolutely. And the human cost, the economic toll of this 4-day war.
Yeah.
It was significant, right? Even though it was short.
Definitely significant. Tragically, India reported at least 21 civilian deaths from Pakistani shelling, including 5 near Sialkot and Rajouri. Residential areas became battlegrounds.
And Pakistan's claims.
Pakistan claimed 40 civilians and 11 troops were martyred, painting its own picture of sacrifice. Shelling also hit civilian areas indiscriminately, schools, religious sites.
There was that incident at the convent.
Disturbingly, yes. 3 students were killed when a Christian convent in Poonch was directly hit by Pakistani shelling. A stark reminder of non-combatants caught in the crossfire.
What about military losses?
On the military side, India reported 5 soldiers killed. Pakistan claimed 13 personnel were martyred. Relatively low numbers for a full war, but still significant losses for families, units.
And the wider disruption, daily life, economy.
Severely impacted. India closed 25 airports, over 300 flight cancellations, massive disruption to travel in the north.
Even cricket was affected.
Popular IPL games were shifted or suspended. Shows the conflict's reach into everyday life.
What about the markets?
There was initial uncertainty, a dip. But then, both Indian and Pakistani stock exchanges saw significant surges after the ceasefire, a collective sigh of relief from investors fearing a longer, more destructive conflict.
That rapid rebound shows how sensitive markets are to perceived stability.
Underscored it completely.
And now back to the U.S. involvement. The nuclear angle was key.
Yes, the U.S. Congressional Research Service noted that fears of nuclear escalation, specifically the reported May 9th convening of Pakistan's National Command Authority.
The body controlling their nukes.
Exactly. That was a central motivator for U.S. government involvement. The specter of nuclear war, even limited, was a tangible concern driving diplomatic action.
A critical observation. The stakes were incredibly high.
Immensely high. However, analysts from Eurasia Review argued something interesting. They said the U.S.'s initial indifference.
Before they jumped in.
Right. That initial perceived indifference actually allowed for the rapid escalation we saw. And they argued its hastily organized intervention, while preventing immediate catastrophe, inadvertently created a moral hazard.
Moral hazard. Explain that.
It's a tricky concept for superpowers. If you always step in to prevent the worst, do you implicitly signal to countries that there's always a safety net? Does it potentially encourage them to take greater risks next time, knowing they might not face the full consequences because someone will intervene?
So the intervention itself might paradoxically fuel future brinkmanship.
That's the argument. It's a fundamental challenge for maintaining long-term stability in volatile regions. The expectation of intervention could be destabilizing.
Okay, so the fighting stops, but the conflict's echoes continue. especially in rhetoric, information.
And that brings us to maybe the most alarming aspect, the resurgence of nuclear rhetoric.
This might be the most provocative, certainly unsettling part of this deep dive. Months after the ceasefire, August 2025, Pakistan's army chief, General Asim Munir, is in the U.S.
On a seemingly normal visit.
And he makes some truly startling, controversial remarks.
Indeed. Speaking at a private event, Tampa, Florida. No cameras, no phones allowed. But the speech quickly leaked.
And the remark.
Widely reported. Included stunning threats, analogies that sent shockwaves. He reportedly declared, and this is a quote, "We are a nuclear nation. If we think we're going down, we'll take half the world down with us."
Half the world? Wow. That alone raises serious concerns about Pakistan's nuclear doctrine, their willingness to escalate.
Incredibly aggressive, especially coming from a top military leader on foreign soil. And he didn't stop there.
What else?
In the context of India suspending the Indus Waters Treaty, that crucial water-sharing agreement.
Vital for Pakistan's water supply.
Absolutely. Munir allegedly stated, "We will wait for India to build a dam, and when it does so, we will destroy it with 10 missiles. The Indus River is not the Indians' family property. We have no shortage of missiles."
Destroying a dam.
That's considered a grave war crime under international law, making the alleged threat even more alarming.
The language is just so stark, almost cavalier.
And he used that rather crude but memorable analogy too, warning India against attacking Pakistan.
The dump truck analogy.
Yeah. India is a shining Mercedes coming on a highway like a Ferrari, but we are a dump truck full of gravel. If the truck hits the car, who is going to be the loser? Blunt, but clearly conveying Pakistan's unconventional deterrence idea. Even if smaller, less shiny, it can inflict devastating damage.
How did India respond to all this?
Swiftly, unequivocally, strongly. They condemned Munir's remarks as unnecessary, unprovoked, and uncalled for.
Call it saber rattling.
Said it was characteristic of Pakistan's long pattern of nuclear saber rattling. They found it regrettable. The remarks were made from the soil of a friendly third country, implying a diplomatic slight to the U.S.
And their bottom line?
India explicitly stated it will not give in to nuclear blackmail, affirmed it will continue to take all steps necessary to safeguard our national security. A very firm resolve against such threats.
How did analysts interpret Munir's comments? Was it just bluster?
Well, experts from places like the Vivekananda International Foundation saw it as more strategic, a multi-layered communication,
Meaning?
likely aimed at projecting strength, both domestically to unify political forces, show resolve, and internationally, reminding the world of Pakistan's nuclear card.
And it gave them deniability.
Exactly. It provided a mechanism for diplomatic plausible deniability, allowed Pakistan's Foreign Office to later slam India for distorting Munir's remarks, muddying the waters.
So maybe an attempt to restore deterrence.
Some analysts suggested exactly that, an attempt to restore Pakistan's nuclear deterrence posture, because India's conventional strikes in Operation Sindoor had seemingly called their bluff, shown options below Pakistan's nuclear threshold.
And the U.S. reaction to Munir speaking on their soil, that was telling too, wasn't it? Revealed the division.
Incredibly telling. The official U.S. response State Department, Pentagon, was notably silent. Crickets.
Which was interpreted how?
Some saw it as prioritizing re-engagement with Pakistan over traditional non-proliferation and diplomatic norms, putting strategic partnership maybe ahead of concerns about the rhetoric.
But not everyone in the U.S. was silent.
No, that official silence was sharply contrasted by blistering condemnation from a very vocal segment of the U.S. foreign policy establishment.
Like who?
For example, former Pentagon official Michael Rubin. He described Munir as Osama bin Laden in a suit. A truly incendiary comparison.
Wow.
Accused Pakistan of acting like a rogue state. He went further, advocated removing Pakistan's major non-NATO ally status, the MNNA designation.
Which gives them military and financial benefits.
Right. And even suggested Munir be declared persona non grata, kicked out of the U.S. It highlighted a profound public disagreement within Washington on how to handle Pakistan.
Especially given its nukes and role in regional stability.
Exactly.
So this raises a crucial question for you listening. What are the global implications when a military leader makes such threats on foreign soil? How does the world respond when strategic interests like counterterrorism or stability clash with non-proliferation concerns?
It's a huge dilemma. India, for its part, quickly raised well-held doubts about the integrity of nuclear command and control in Pakistan. pointing to alleged links between the military and terrorist groups.
Questioning their ability to manage the arsenal responsibly.
Right. India views Pakistan's military, led by figures they sometimes describe as hardline, as effectively holding the nuclear button, undermining civilian authority, international norms.
And Pakistan's nuclear history adds to that concern.
Pakistan's history of threatening nuclear use, its first-use policy, not ruling out striking first, plus those long-standing claims about how they got nuclear tech illegally. It all amplifies global concerns. The stability of a nuclear state perceived to have militant links is a constant worry.
And the actual capabilities, there's been a shift there too.
A subtle but significant shift. While both have nukes, India is now estimated to have more warheads, roughly 180 versus Pakistan's 170.
A first in over 20 years.
Yeah, signals a shift in the strategic balance. India's modernization includes MIRVs, multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles on its Agni-V missiles.
Meaning multiple warheads per missile.
Exactly. And those Agni-Vs have a range of 5,000, 8,000 kilometers, capable of reaching deep into China.
What's Pakistan's equivalent?
Their Shaheen-3 has a range of 2,750 kilometers, still reportedly under development, so capability gap there.
And both are aiming for the triad.
Both actively working towards a full nuclear triad land, sea, air launch capabilities, which undeniably increases regional escalation risks, makes arsenals more survivable, maybe more flexible. The pursuit of that second strike capability fuels a dangerous arms race.
Indeed. These advanced capabilities, the inflammatory rhetoric, it creates an increasingly volatile environment.
And for you, the observer, understanding these nuances, doctrines, capabilities is essential to grasping the inherent dangers in this deeply fraught relationship.
Okay, so beyond the battlefield, beyond diplomacy, the 2025 conflict was marked by this fierce digital battleground information warfare.
It wasn't a sideshow. It was central to how the conflict played out, how it was perceived globally.
Absolutely. The conflict was just permeated by widespread misinformation propaganda from both sides, amplified exponentially across social media, X, YouTube, WhatsApp.
Fact-checkers like Deutsche Welle were swamped.
Yeah.
It quickly revealed the sheer scale of false claims, manufactured content, showed how easily the digital realm gets weaponized.
The depth of fabrication was astonishing. Pakistan's official government X handle.
Formerly Twitter.
Right. They actually shared footage from the video game Arma 3, a military simulation game.
And passed it off as real combat footage.
Yes. Praised the military's timely and nerve-wracking response over this totally fictional content, a blatant attempt to mislead everyone.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop there. Their deputy prime minister, Ishaq Dar,
A high-ranking official,
shared an AI-generated Daily Telegraph front page depicting a Pakistani aerial victory, quickly debunked by fact-checkers, of course.
and fake news infographics.
There was a purported CNN infographic verifying Pakistan's claims on gains and losses, found to be completely fabricated, but it circulated widely, preying on trust in established news brands.
And targeting individuals.
False reports about capturing a female Indian pilot, Shivangi Singh, circulated widely on Pakistani social media, designed to boost morale, humiliate the opponent.
But India wasn't immune either. There was misleading content on their side, too.
Oh, definitely not immune.
Uh,
A video with over 5 million views supposedly showing Indian missile strikes.
turned out to be.
Footage of Iranian missiles hitting Israel from October 2024. Completely unrelated event.
And the downed Rafale claims.
When a pro-Pakistan user claimed a French Rafale jet symbol of India's air power was shot down, the picture used actually showed a Pakistani Mirage 5 that crashed 3 weeks before the conflict. Clear misattribution.
Another example.
Another viral video, actually from a June 2024 crash of an Indian Su-30 MKI, was falsely shared as a Rafale shot down by Pakistan near the location. Again, trying to score propaganda points.
Vivid examples of how easily doctored or miscontextualized media spreads like wildfire, blurring reality and fiction.
And the speed and reach of social media make it a profoundly challenging environment for truth.
And both governments actively tried to control information domestically, too.
Extensively, signaling how important managing public perception was. India blocked over 8,000 X accounts, several YouTube channels, including TV channels, Chinese Turkish news agencies, cited anti-Pakistan propaganda.
And Pakistan.
Similarly, Pakistan blocked 79 Indian digital platforms, claimed they were spreading anti-Pakistan propaganda.
And there were internal repercussions. Arrests.
Yes, highlighting the control. A senior Najere official in Pakistan arrested for anti-army remarks on WhatsApp. shows even private communication had consequences. In India, an academic professor faced arrest over a social media post about the military operation.
So concerted government efforts to control narratives, suppress unwelcome information, maintain internal cohesion.
Absolutely.
So what's the profound implication here for you, the informed listener?
In this age of info overload, the pervasive nature of deepfakes, game footage, doctored images, in a real conflict. It fundamentally challenges our ability to trust sources, discern truth, even if you're actively trying to be well-informed.
It's not just about spotting one fake video.
No. It's recognizing that the digital landscape is a primary theater of war. For you, this demands a radical shift in how we consume, evaluate information. Needs a level of critical discernment beyond traditional media literacy.
Okay, so active hostilities cease. But the domestic fallout begins almost immediately, both nations spinning narratives of victory.
Swiftly and unequivocally. This competition over who won was as intense as the military exchanges themselves.
What did Pakistan do?
Pakistan's National Assembly convened May 12th, just 2 days after the ceasefire. Publicly celebrated what leaders called a decisive victory. Observed Yom-e-Tashriq, Day of Gratitude nationwide, honoring the armed forces for Operation Bunyan-um-Marsoos.
The promotion?
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif promoted Khoya Sasim Munir to Field Marshal, a rare, prestigious honor. Extended the air chief's tenure, commended their exemplary courage and resolve, hailed the operation as a remarkable success.
Big celebrations then.
Widespread prayers. 31-gun salute in Islamabad, 21-gun salutes in provincial capitals. A concerted effort to unify fractured political forces, boost national pride, morale.
And India's stance. Their narrative.
Equally firm. Projecting decisive action, deterrence. Prime Minister Modi addressed the nation May 12th, asserted India had always defeated Pakistan on the battlefield, and Operation Sindoor added a new dimension to that history.
A warning too.
A stern warning. India had only paused military action. Would not hesitate to strike again if any further terrorist attack occurred, signaling a new, more proactive posture.
Promotions on their side.
Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, the DGMO during Sindoor, was promptly promoted, reinforcing that sense of military success. India's Chief of Defense Staff, Anil Chauhan, later confirmed initial losses in the air, a rare admission, but stressed out. India's changed tactics worked well, gave a professional and factual debrief aimed at reassuring the public while acknowledging challenges.
So, both claiming victory. What did neutral analysts say?
Analysts, like from Al Jazeera, noted that neither side can truly claim to have emerged with a definite upper hand. Instead, both India and Pakistan could claim strategic gains, even as they each suffered losses.
So, for you, the learner, this is crucial. How do these starkly contrasting domestic narratives influence public perception, set future expectations?
They're not just about the past. They're powerful tools shaping national identity, future policy.
Moving beyond domestic narratives, the international reactions, geopolitical shifts were also incredibly significant, revealed that complex web of global interests.
The Atlantic Council, for instance, posited that Operation Sindoor exposed an imbalance in U.S. policy towards South Asia.
How so?
Analyst Trujan Balker suggested that for the U.S. to build real trust with India, it must put the onus on the Pakistani establishment to play its part in counterterrorism, and even consider revoking Pakistan's MNNA status.
Major non-NATO ally status. That would be a big shift.
Huge. It would significantly alter Pakistan's military aid status with the U.S.
And the warming U.S.-Islamabad ties, despite Pakistan's China links, that affects India.
It could indeed influence India's foreign policy trajectory, maybe push it closer to other partners, or lead to a reevaluation of its U.S. alignment. Manal Fatima, also at Atlantic Council, observed the conflict seemed to unify Pakistani politics domestically for a bit.
And gave Pakistan a diplomatic edge.
Arguably, yes. Regarding Trump's involvement in the ceasefire talks, Pakistan actively engaged the Trump administration. Pakistan's leadership actively sought to reconfigure U.S. support by offering transactional benefits to the Trump administration, including, according to some sources, advocating for Trump's Nobel Peace Prize nomination.
Wow. Calculated diplomatic strategy.
Demonstrates a pragmatic approach, trying to leverage geopolitical shifts to their advantage, secure a favorable position.
And the wider international community, given the nuclear angle.
Widespread concern, as you'd expect. UN Secretary General, numerous world leaders, Algeria, Armenia, Australia, Brazil, China, France, Germany, Japan, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Turkey, UK, even Pope Leo XIV.
What did they say?
All issued urgent calls for restraint. universally welcomed the ceasefire. This broad, immediate response underscored that collective global anxiety about a potential larger conflict between two nuclear powers.
And domestically in India, the conflict fueled anti-Pakistan sentiment.
Intensely. Led to practical repercussions. Widespread boycott calls against Turkish airlines due to Turkey's perceived anti-India stance. Even vandalism of Karachi Bakery in Hyderabad demanding a name change.
Shows how deep nationalist sentiment can run, even affecting businesses.
Highlights that complex interplay between bilateral conflicts, global dynamics, and how quickly tensions ripple through societies.
Okay, looking ahead, what's the future outlook? More instability.
Widely expected to increase regional instability, unfortunately. In an already volatile region, analysts warn Pakistan's military leadership may be emboldened by renewed U.S. engagement.
Feeling validated.
Potentially. May persist with aggressive rhetoric, that dual-track diplomatic strategy talking piece, while maybe supporting proxies or maintaining a hard line.
Leading to
A more tense, unpredictable environment, heightened miscalculation risks, especially with nukes in the picture.
and India's takeaways. Strategic adaptations.
India emphasized the urgent need for Atmanirbhar innovation in national security, self-reliance in defense tech, maintaining aerial supremacy.
Specific lessons from Operation Sindoor.
The Indian air chief outlined 3 key lessons. 1. It was a high-tech, precise, lethal war. Underscores the shift in conflict.
Yep.
Importance of learning from the past. The lack of clear visual proof in the 2019 Balakot strikes led to concerted efforts to get detailed before and after images this time. A lesson learned in InfoWar.
And third,
The primacy of air power. Improved synchronization between India's 3 forces, with the Chief of Defense Staff playing a crucial coordinating role. That was seen as vital.
and the S-400 system.
Hailed as a game changer. Forced Pakistani jets to stay further back, limited their operational flexibility.
What about Pakistan's military future? More modernization.
Reportedly set to acquire advanced 5th-generation jets from China. Indicates a continued arms race, focus on modernizing its air force to counter India. Suggests the strategic competition is far from over. Likely fuels defense spending, tech acquisition on both sides.
Yeah.
A perpetual cycle.
And there was that separate economic issue with the U.S. tariffs.
Often overlooked, but important. Trump's imposition of double tariffs, up to 50% on India for buying discounted Russian oil. It had immediate, significant economic consequences.
Like what?
Foreign portfolio investors pulled nearly $2 billion, about 18,000 crore rupees from Indian stock markets almost overnight.
Wow. The Trump effect.
Put severe pressure on Indian exporters, textiles, gems, jewelry critical sectors. Banks increased scrutiny on loans. Businesses had to rework strategies, shift output, explore acquisitions to mitigate risk, adapt to the tariffs.
Adds a complex economic layer to the India-U.S. relationship.
Suggests a continued need for delicate diplomacy on trade, alongside security cooperation.
So what does this all mean for your application? What lessons can countries worldwide draw from this short, sharp conflict?
It's a stark case study about evolving drone warfare, vulnerability to cyber attacks, the immense challenge of managing nuclear rhetoric in an age of pervasive infowar. It truly offers a vital blueprint for understanding future conflict dynamics in our hyper-connected yet deeply fractured world.
So wrapping this up, what does it all mean for you? We've taken this deep dive into the 2025 India-Pakistan conflict, a 4-day firestorm. Astonishingly brief, yet leaving these significant diplomatic, military, informational repercussions.
We've seen how quickly tensions escalate, how rapidly a ceasefire can sometimes be brokered, and how fiercely the narratives are fought, not just on the battlefield, but in that digital space where reality itself becomes contested.
This conflict, drones, contested air victories, alarming nuclear talk, that deluge of misinformation, it presents a crucial, sobering case study for everyone.
It highlights a kind of new normal, doesn't it? Where lines between conventional, unconventional warfare blur, and the information landscape isn't just an adjunct, it's a primary theater of war.
So as we move forward, how will this short, sharp conflict shape future security doctrines, diplomatic engagements, our collective ability to navigate a world where facts are often as contested as territory?
And what deeper questions does it raise about the responsibility of states, militaries, even media in controlling narratives during crises? What new tools do we need to cultivate to truly understand the world around us?
That's definitely a thought to mull over long after this deep dive concludes.